Conversations with Azu Ishekwene.
I reported to work a few days back, and a younger colleague in the office, a lady, a millennial by generation, told me I looked demure. And I was slightly taken aback, and I thought I didn't hear her properly. She said I didn't understand. She said I looked demure. Older lady overheard and said, "Do men also look demure?" And well, cut a long story short, I would later tell the lady thanks for the compliment. I assumed it was. So today we're talking about words on Conversation with Azu, our weekly diary on life and politics, published on the back page of Leadership newspaper. Today, Azu is reviewing the Oxford United Press's selected word for 2023, and perhaps we'll get to know much more about, words. You're welcome to Conversation, Azu.
Thanks for having me, James. Pleasure.
Yes. Let me dive straight in right away. What is this fascination with words in your back page column? Because there's so much happening in politics.
Well, thank you. But even politics itself, if we, what the things, I guess that words are a very natural part of our social existence. So the things that we do, and how we do them, and how we relate, what are central to humans being social beings. I think that it's also a very significant part of how we are different from other from other creatures. But to come to the point about words, which you started the conversation with, I was actually inspired to do this piece from an article that a friend of mine shared on our class platform about the Oxford University Press.
Oxford United Press.
Oxford University Press.
Okay.
Word of the year 2023, and of course the word of the year 2023, according to the Oxford University Press, based on a sample or a survey did over a period covering, I think it said about 30,000 people. Was that the word "riz" was the word of the year for 2023. Of course, that word has its roots in charisma, So when millennials or Gen Z say you are Riz, you said you were demure, but when they say you are Riz, it means you have charisma. So that I thought perhaps Oxford University Press has not done for 2024. So I thought I might just as well get the process going. So that was really the inspiration for the piece Word of the Year or Words of the Year 2024.
Okay, arising from this, you said you're creating a slate on your own for possible words of the year in 2024. What do you intend to achieve?
So I sort of spoke with a few Gen Zs especially and shared with them what words are in vogue, what words have had currency this year, or phrases if you like. And they came up with quite an interesting list of words, or word soup if you like, of words that have had currency this year. And then from that I selected 5, which I then described as my favorite words of the year. And then I offered my readers and followers the opportunity to pick. And I'm already getting some responses, to be honest. They're not as much, but there's a bit of traction and engagement by people who are already making their choice about the word or words of the year, or perhaps phrase of the year for 2024.
How may those who are watching us right now engage?
Oh yes, I mean, if you want to choose that, of course, Julius has also said you can go to azuishekwene.com or just Google Words of the Year 2024 on the internet, and you'll be able to read the full text of my article either on Google or on any of those platforms, Leadership, Premium Times, Vanguard, Cable, or any of the many platforms on which my content is shared. And then you'll be able to also give me feedback on any of my social media handles. And my social media handles have uniform account Azu Ishekwene. And once you type in Azu Ishekwene, either on Facebook or Twitter, or if you're on Blue Sky or on Threads, or on X, and you'll be able to follow me. Or you can shoot me an email as well on azuishekwene@gmail.com, and let's hear what you think.
Let's talk about how these new vocabulary is affecting the broader society socially.
Yeah.
Parents and children are seeming to
They're having a hard time.
yes, a hard time. Parents comprehending what children are saying. What do you think this has to do on what effect does this have on social cohesion?
Well, I think that we are, like in most social relations, we are also in a phase in our lives where we have to engage younger ones, whether they are millennials, those of us from the Gen X generation, whether they are millennials or Gen Z. So we have to engage and find out. I do not think that not every word or not every phrase that they come up with will last. But some of them might find their way up because every word has its roots, has its beginning, has its foundation. Words were not, if you go into the etymology of many words, they were not always the way we use them. A lot of words were borrowed either from Latin or from Greek or from French, you know. So words have different origins, all right? So, and we must also understand that the people who use some of these words that we are talking about, whether they are the demure or steez or dope or lit, any of those words, or icho, which is a very common phrase, these are words that are used on certain social media platforms, and they are words in which the younger generation engage themselves. And so I think that, in fact, one of the responses I got was from, I believe, a Gen X parent who also had the sort of experience you had. Obviously, the child, the younger adult, said something which he didn't quite understand, and his wife was laughing when it was interpreted to him what steez meant, so for us to have more beneficial, more fruitful, more engaged relationship with younger adults, we also have to share some of the language that they share. Not all of we may not find all of them useful or appealing or meaningful, and some of these words also are expressed. Uh, you might be surprised either as memes or as super abbreviations, some of which may not make meaning to you.
Stickers.
Yeah, and stickers and all of that. But that is the way that they have come to engage. And if we want to engage meaningfully with them, I guess we also have to engage with them and find out some of these things, what they mean.
All right, the word woke.
Yes.
An American is it a slang or regular language that has come into regular usage. Has a fluid meaning depending on who's using it.
Yeah.
Yes. So talking about standards, that's where I'm going. How when there is no standard, there can't be any measurement. Academically, how do you think these new words that the youngsters are using freely and even using on academic papers, how is it going to affect the standard?
That is obviously a problem. That's obviously a problem. The West African Exam Council has complained about the intrusion of some of these words. And so it's looking at this curriculum and to find out, what do these words mean. I think that words generally should be used in context. And so when you are having informal conversation, I normally would expect that there are some words that you do not want to introduce. Like I said, that this article was also partly inspired by some on-air personalities or presenters or anchors or what you call them, who use the word anyways, and I was taken aback because it was on TV on a news program, and after that there was another presenter on the same station that used the same word. I thought it was too informal to be used in that context. So words have context and meaning and perspective which should be used. So I will be very surprised, although obviously it's becoming a struggle because when younger adults become too familiar with certain words, then knowing where to use them becomes a problem for them. That's what they are used to. So knowing when to use them, whether in informal or formal settings, obviously becomes a problem for them. But I think that some of these words will gradually find their way into mainstream. Some of these words will obviously be mainstream over time because there are a couple of words that we use today that I'm sure that in their time when some of those words actually came up, people at that time were obviously not very comfortable, but some of these words have become mainstream. I suspect that some of these words that we find jarring today might become mainstream in the future, but we'll have to wait to see how many of them make it to that time.
All right, we'll wait to see how many of them will make it to the future. For more on this, visit azuishekwene.com to read the full, the full length of the article. This is just a tip of the iceberg. Thanks for coming on the conversation, Azu.
Thanks for having me once again, Julius, and compliments on the season.
I wish you the same. Thank you. Merry Christmas in advance.
May your Christmas be dope.
Conversations with Azu Ishekwene.